Lovely. So today, I want to go into the 5 ways of getting into property with no money. I get asked fairly frequently from people, how do I get started in property? What's the best way? Yet capital is not very high. So these are 5 ways that you can get into property when you've got little to no capital. One thing I do want to focus on, and something I highly recommend, is these strategies are all something that you can do. So they're strategies that involve property that you can do that creates money or creates that income or creates capital. I do highly recommend investing in yourself as a priority. Okay, so rather than thinking of the best strategies to push forward, I'd be looking at doing them, but I'd also be looking at doing that in conjunction with investing in yourself. Okay, so one of my favorite sayings is, you don't know what you don't know. Today I'm going to tell you what to do, but if you really want to learn the how, you need to invest in yourself. Okay, so without further ado, here are the 5 ways. So the first one, which is probably my favorite, is property sourcing / deal packaging. Okay, so there's 2 different things which I'll quickly run over. Property sourcing is when you provide a service for an investor. So you have a conversation, you provide a service, then you provide a product, and then you help them with everything up till completion of a property, which will hit a certain return. Deal packaging is the idea of finding a property and just sending it to investors. Okay, so just to simplify, DS is more of a service, investor to property, whereas DP is providing a product which is more property to investor. Just to clarify, both do very similar things. First thing you'll need to do when it comes to deal packaging or property sourcing is become compliant. These are the areas you need to focus on. So legals. So you need to be part of the property redress scheme, and you need to comply with AML regulations. Okay, there's certain factors you need to do with that, and then you need to get some property indemnity insurance. Okay, so it just protects you. And then finally, make sure you've got all the agreements. What is deal packaging? What is property sourcing? So you work with investors that want to invest in a property. They might not have the time, they might not have the right knowledge, they might not have the network or the power team able to do that. So you provide that service and product or property. You provide all of that so they're able to go from the start, which is maybe they've got the company or they've got the idea or the action to get going, all the way to the end where they've got a property that makes them money. So the average fees, so how much money are you going to make with this if we're done properly? So first of all, I have no idea where the average fees come from. But what I do know is I know companies that charge £3,000 for this service. I know companies that charge £12,000 for this service. Both do very well. Both work with several clients monthly. Okay, so it needs to be, or you need to, when you're putting a price to it, you need to really be confident, be happy with the value. Look at your competition, look at who else is doing it, understand, right, where should I, or what do I align with that? What do I offer that's slightly different? What's my experience, etc. So when it comes to deal packaging, you're probably around £3,000 or 3%. This is the norm. This is my experience of it. That's what we charged. The property sourcing side, which is more the service, is anywhere from, well, it can be 3, but £5,000 up to kind of 12. Okay, so that's around that. My fee is 5,997 plus VAT. So that's where I align in these figures. And we provide the service. So I do more of the property source and deal packaging. A few different points, because I don't want to go into too much detail of that. I just want to go over the 5 different strategies. What do you need to learn to really get going in property sourcing and deal packaging? So you need to learn the obvious, which is how to find properties and how to find investors. You need to learn, when you're finding the properties, how to analyse them. Okay, how to match property to investor or investor to property. So more process. So what is the process of each of the strategies? How you create and grow a sourcing business. Company legalities, which we've touched upon. Sales and marketing, very important. Dealing with estate agents or other forms of finding properties. Building your power team. So that's your solicitor, your broker, etc. And then the different investment strategies, because not all investors want just standard buy-to-lets. You might be a property sourcer with flips or rent-to-rent or whatever that might be. Cool. So that's strategy number 1. That's probably my favourite. That's one that I'm actively doing at the moment. You need a little bit to be compliant, but then you can work out there and you can work with, well, basically as many clients as possible and start to develop and grow a company that can be hitting 5k a month relatively quickly and relatively easily. So that's the first. Second one is raising funds. A little bit harder, but most certainly can accelerate someone's journey. So this requires deep knowledge of property and business as well. So just want to talk about a couple of points with this, or a few points with this, just so if you are looking to raise funds, you've got a general idea of kind of what it entails, what you need to know so you can start that process. First of all, finding investors. Obviously, that's where you need to raise the funds from. So this doesn't happen overnight. So the first stage of finding investors is approach people that we know. So that is people that we know that may be based around us, friends, family, whatever that might be in our network at the moment, just to talk about what we're looking to do. Okay. So doing that, it means that you've skipped past the like, no trust stage, which is very important when working with investors. So that's why we approach our network first. The second part is maybe referrals. Then third part is speaking to other people externally that we can post through social media, or people can find us through different methods as well. So there's a bit more information there if you do want to read. Structuring a deal. This comes down to the particular investor, but we need to know how to structure that deal, whether that's a flip, whether that's a BRR that we're doing, so it's more structuring the business around that. But we need to know how to structure that so that we can work with an investor and with their funds as well, their capital. Next, similar to structuring a deal, security, whether that's a PG or whether that is equity in a business, or even whether that is setting up a new SPV. Or it might be a charge on a property, or even a charge on a business, or a charge on a personal property or something. So we need to know what security the investor wants to work around. Fourth point is consistency. Okay, so this is a great example. For the first 9 months when I started Evolve, I raised about £60,000. That was my first 6 months. 9 months. The next 6 months, I raised 3 million. Okay, nothing really changed. It's just I got better, I got more confident, I had credibility with the previous fundraising, and then I was able to raise, well, I'm not going to work out the percentage of more, but a hell of a lot more money. Okay, and that was keeping consistent. If I'd have given up after 9-10 months, I'd have only raised £60,000 and I wouldn't be doing the projects I'm doing today. And the final point, which you'd probably be sick of me saying by the end of it, is you don't know what you don't know. Okay, so a lot of people, or a lot of other people out there might say, oh, just keep posting on social media and eventually it'll come. Well, that could mean anything, and it's wrong, by the way. So it's not as simple as just posting or asking your parents and you're good to go. Okay, so there needs to be a proper process that you need to follow. You need to follow it over time, and that will create the opportunity to raise the funds, and then the business plan follows. But you need to know each part of that process, the raising the funds, the business plan, the security, everything we've just talked about. So number 2 is raising the funds to put towards whatever strategy that might be. So use other people's money. Again, one of my favorites, something that works extremely well for us. Number 3, again, something we do frequently is joint ventures. So a joint venture involves partnering with somebody else. It could be one person, it could be multiple people, and then each will bring different values to the partnership. So a very simple process on a joint venture, which was my first business, was my partner provided the funds and I provided the expertise, time, the effort, etc. of building the company. So, and what I could provide was an in to find cheap properties that we could buy, refurbish, and then refinance. So we followed the BRR strategy. So that's how we created a £1.5 million portfolio in the first 2 years, and that was through joint venture. So similar to raising funds, but it's slightly different because there's different attributes and values that can be provided on both sides. So roles to talk about. So usually you've got the investor. So they'll usually put the funds. You've got the working partner. So that's the person that's in the business. This is an example. So this joint venture was the investor put the money in, the working partner would put the sourcing deals, managing the projects, the hand-to-hand, the daily operational side of it, and then the profit sharing would be whatever that profit is, and it can be losses, so just bear in mind, are shared accordingly to whatever was agreed at the start, which can be whatever the case might be. It could be 50-50, it could be a long exit, many different ways of structuring that. Okay, so what are the benefits? And this is benefits to both sides. So there's the access to capital, again, which is what we're looking for. That's the core reason. The second is the shared risk. Excuse me. So the risk is between two people then. So it's reducing that risk for one person. And mitigating risk is very important for investors. Third is leverage, and leveraging expertise in particular rather than funds. So you're not having to learn everything. You can work with somebody that might know part of the process or be very good at a singular part, and you can know the rest then. For example, you might joint venture with a project manager. They've got all the knowledge from when you purchase the property. They can take care of it. You don't have to worry. Again, it's what I've done and what I've leveraged with somebody else. Their project management experience, they take care of everything after that, and they're very good at it, which means I don't have to be. I know what to do, but I don't do that, and I'm leveraging their ability. And then finally is increased purchasing power. Okay, so putting more funds together or putting more people together increases purchasing power due to time, due to network, and obviously due to capital as well. So things that you need to think about are the agreements. So make sure you've got the JV outlined from the start, okay? And that includes roles, responsibilities, profit shares, dividends, exit, etc. Due diligence, make sure you do a lot of research on that person. What are they bringing to the party? Make sure they've got something that they can provide and the value that they're providing. Okay, it's great having all the ideas, but if you can't follow through on that, it's not going to be a long-term viable option. And then the legal and tax implications. So make sure you speak to solicitors, make sure you look over everything and it's all done properly. So how to start a joint venture? Number one, find your partner. Okay, so you need to find somebody to work with. That could be a company, it could be one person, it could be multiple people. The proposal and negotiation, so you need to come up with a business plan together. What value they're bringing, what value you're bringing, and what goals are they? Are they aligned? Because is it short-term or long-term goals? Drafting the agreements, so work with solicitors, but get a comprehensive JV agreement that outlines everything. Okay, what happens when things go wrong? We need to understand that. And then finally, execution management. Start, basically. So I've got a quick example scenario just to quickly run over. So let's say you understand the market, you understand the renovation, but you don't have the funds. You might find an investor willing to finance a project. So that's where you could form a joint venture, whether that's in a SPV or whether it's just a joint venture in general, where they provide the capital, you handle the property sourcing, the renovation, and then the sale, and then profits are split 50-50 on all expenses. And are covered and reinvested, or you could reinvest and go again. So we're working with somebody at the minute where they've put the funds up, they wanted security of purchasing, wanted to see how we get on with finding. We're in the refurb stage. Once that's sold, we're going to look to set the company up, put the funds in, and then we're going to utilise that funds for the next 5 years to create a large pot, and then whatever profits are there in 5 years, we can split. And we can put into. Or what we also might look at doing is once we create the pot and get it even bigger, we then split the pot into two so we can buy and hold to create a cash flow for the investor. And then the other part we can keep doing profits so that we're constantly reinvesting and buying more. And then the goal is to buy hopefully 10 over the next 5 years with the funds. So we've still got a large pot at the end so the investor take it back. And we've got a company that's creating a good cash flow and also going up in value that is then when it's split 50-50, all money is taken from each side. Okay. Number 4, this is basically how I started really, and that's working in the industry. So it's getting a job within property. That could be an estate agent, it could be an investment company. There's loads and loads and loads of companies out there. Okay. So this was my in to the industry, which is how I like to phrase it. It worked great for me because I was able to work with a company that was a lot smaller then, and I saw them go through the growth. I saw the mistakes that they made. I saw the vision and the alignment, and I was part of the growth and the changes, which made me realise, right, I know what I want to do as a company. I also know what I don't want to do as a company. So it's brilliant for me, and I learned a hell of a lot. I learned what people would pay 30k a year for, and I was getting paid to do that. So it was brilliant. So the different ways that you can do that or how to approach it is there's kind of 3 options that I'd look at. One is unpaid work. So that might be working part-time, just shadowing people, working for a company that you can sit down, it's kind of free training, but you're out there to make their lives a bit easier. The second is commission only. So that would be going out there, working within a property strategy, but doing it on commission only, so you don't have to worry about all the back end and everything. So if you wanted property source, for example, you could work for that company, so everything goes through them and they pay you commission for that, as an idea. And then finally, is to get a job within a company. Okay, so that could be an investment company, like I said, an estate agent. There's loads of different options out there, loads of different companies out there as well, depending on where you are and etc. A couple of points to mention is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is brilliant to connect with people, connect with companies, to even find a job. So find companies or directors and approach them with whatever strategy it might be, unpaid commission or just a job. And then finally, a cover page. Just having something on your LinkedIn or having something you can put in front of people that states basically everything to why somebody should look at you to work with them. So if you are looking at working within the industry, whether it's, again, a estate agent, investment company, or whatever it might be, create a cover page that describes you, describes your mindset, your ambition, what you're looking to gain from it, and what you can offer. So that's the fourth one, working within the industry. And then the final one is lease option / assisted sales. So lease option, with these, it will or most likely will require some funds. We're not talking a huge amount, but some funds. Just to kind of split them up. So a lease option is the idea of you kind of get a rental agreement with the property or with the investor or the landlord, and then you purchase that in the future. Okay, so what are the benefits to you doing that is low funds. So you can rent the property, take over a mortgage, which might be quite low. You can put a bit of, or do the property up a little bit, and then you can rent that property out and create a bit of a cash flow, which is going towards you purchasing a property in the future. That's an example. So it's low funds to get in the deal. You can earn an income from day one. You can put it into SA or HMO to create even higher income, or just put it through a rental. You agree a price today, which is fantastic. So if we said we're going to buy this in 5 years and we're buying 100 grand, if that property goes up nicely in the future and it's worth 120 in the future, you've still got an agreement at 100 grand. So it's fantastic in that essence. You can pull out of the deal should circumstances change. So you make a little bit of money, you get towards the end, you can pull out, which might be a good thing or bad thing, but obviously you've got a contract and there might be something in there, so just bear in mind that. And then you're in control of the assets, so you can mail decisions apparently. So you can make decisions with that asset. So that's also good. Benefit to the seller. So the seller will agree or receive an option fee, which doesn't particularly have to be agreed, but that might be that, oh, we'll pay £5 up front type attitude towards purchasing it. Okay, and then they'll get that monthly income potentially. They get commitment to that sale price for the future. So they don't have to worry about marketing. They don't have to worry about it going down in value. They don't have to worry about it, sort of things breaking, the property going in worse condition and having to do it up to sell it to hit a market value. Assuming the buyer looks after it, they don't get maintenance costs, they don't get void periods. It's quite an easy transaction. A wider market is attracted to property because it can be sold to anyone. So they don't have to particularly sell it to someone that's got the deposit or an investor. They could sell that to anyone that's open to that. You could even do a lease option where you go, you live in the property yourself and then you buy it in the future. That's also an option. Potential tax benefits. Again, I'm not an accountant or a financial advisor, so I can't comment on that, but there are potential tax benefits depending on the seller's situation. And there's more flexibility and control to negotiate from the onset, because you can take capital growth into account. You can take out and put a slight deposit down as a lease option to say, right, well, what if we put X amount down? There's good room to negotiate on that, which is fantastic. Cool. An assisted sale. So an assisted sale, without sounding obvious, it's basically where you assist on a sale. So there's many reasons that you might do that. So why would you do that? So one of the ones that we've done before is where rather than buy the property at a good price, where you've got the purchasing cost, you need a deposit, there's a lot within that. We've taken the property, or we've taken control of the property, we've agreed a price, we've done the refurb, and then we've sold it and we've created that extra profit that we've split with the seller. So that, again, you need a bit of funds for that, but that is a great option on an assisted sale. Number two might be marketing. So you might have a relationship with an estate agent. You might be able to market it in different ways. You might say, right, well, let's agree a price today. I'm going to market your property and I'm going to sell that property. And then I will take that difference. I'm taking it on. So you will get that price no matter what. I'm going to take that on. Staging, again, similar to a refurb, but lower cost. They might be trying to sell a property. It's just not working. Great. Well, staging can add value. So it's all about how do you add value. So number one was refurb. You're adding value for the refurb. Number two is marketing. You're adding value by marketing the property. Number three is staging. So you're going to add value by staging the property. You might have excess furniture. You might have a company in staging. You might know a company in staging. You can even say to stage company, look, I'll pay you on a sale and I'll pay you 10% more, whatever the case might be. Where you get the property, you stage it so it looks luxurious, it looks very nice. Then when it's on marketed, you might be able to get more for that property. Again, you're taking risk. Fourth might be investors. You might be able to, well, one of the example I've put here is you might take a property and say, right, it's assisted sale. You might make sure it's up to the standard, get a tenant in it, and then package that and sell it to an investor. So you might be able to get a sourcing fee, and you might be able to make a bit of money on the assisted sale as well. Okay, there's other ways in which that could work also. You might have a network of investors that you can just do that to, and you don't even have to rent the property out. Finally, it might be unmortgageable for whatever reason that might be. So you're able to again, I've not really got an example to my head, but maybe Japanese knotweed, maybe it needs, it's got no kitchen, there's whatever that might be. It might be unmortgageable for somebody. So you can go in, you can agree the price, you can solve whatever problem that might be, and then you can help with the sale to create a profit. So that is the final one. So just to quickly reiterate, we've got property source and deal packaging, we've got raising funds, we've got joint venture, we've got working within the industry, and then we've got a lease option or assisted sale. So if I was looking to get into property and I had zero to not much money, I would look at any of these 5 options. But finally, and to reiterate, what I would first of all do is I would invest in myself as a priority, whether that's education and investing a bit of capital to learn, whether that's working with somebody, or whether that is investing time into learning from YouTube such as this, through whatever that might be. Okay, so as much as it is great to find a strategy that works for you with your limited resources, I would also highly recommend investing in yourself as well. Okay, thanks for watching today. If there's anything additional, please comment. If there's any questions with any of these, please do comment. I look at all the comments and we'll come back to you, and hopefully there'll be some help there. But apart from that, please subscribe. Hopefully there'll be more valuable videos for you specifically. I do upload every Sunday, and thank you for watching today. Cheers. Bye.